Okay, how do you feel about like those inspirational posters like the live, laugh, love? I think
Oh
that's a
God,
don't.
no, burn them.
You're listening to a show for those who aren't afraid to admit that they don't know what the hell is going on. This is a safe space to ask any question you may have in order to keep learning and growing every day. Because the truth is, there's no way to know everything. So join me as I talk to people who know a little something about life. But there's a catch. I'll also know nothing about the questions I'm going to ask. Just like in school when there was a suggestion box that the teacher would read out loud, I'll be pulling up the questions without ever seeing them beforehand. Let's just say this should get very interesting. This is Trust Me, I Know Nothing. Wait, what? Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Trust Me, I Know Nothing. Today I'm talking to Jordan Brown from Golden Hour Abode, and we're gonna talk about home decor and how to grow a home decor platform too. And I just want to find out some like cute tips and tricks because I just moved to a new place and I want to find out how to decorate it and make it my own. So I figured why not ask someone who knows about it. So hi Jordan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
How are you today?
Really good. I know I already told you, but I'm kind of nervous. So just bear with me. If I ramble a little bit, feel free to cut me off whenever.
No, no problem at all. We love it when people ramble here. Okay, so if you're ready for it, let's jump into the first question. Okay, so let's see what people sent here. Okay, this one's a good place to start. When you go into a new project, where do you start? Like what's the first thing you have to do?
Oh, I think for me, like if I'm gonna tackle like one room, I kind of start with like a layout. Is usually like my first plan, like where do I want things? And usually that starts with like the bigger pieces of furniture for me. So like we rearranged our bedroom maybe like a few months ago now. And the big thing for me when I was trying to figure out how to rework the space was where does the bed go? That's obviously like the biggest thing in the room. And that's kind of my starting point. And then from there, I would kind of work out to like fill the corners of the room, fill things around it, and then start layering in. For me, I always layer in like texture, and that's a big thing that I like to do as well.
Okay.
But yeah, so layout definitely is where I start, and then I fill in details as I go.
Do you ever do like a brainstorming session or like a mood board or anything that you do, or you just with the flow?
I do sometimes make mood boards. I do think they're really helpful, especially with like mixing patterns, colors, textures, that kind of thing. Especially in my house, there's tons of different colors and prints. And to make sure that things are kind of like cohesive and go together, I like to use mood boards just to like kind of overlap stuff. And it's a good way to be able to tell like instantly if something clashes.
Okay.
So even just like a layout template, like for Instagram, you can use like a little collage template, and I'll take like 6 of the products that I'm looking at and just drop them like one picture of each thing and then kind of move it around to make sure it flows. Um,
Okay.
I'm also just like a huge visual person. So if I have some of the stuff that I'm already working with, I just rearrange until it kind of flows the way that I want it to. And that's like a fun process for me too. I enjoy doing that.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I have to do that. I have to do a mood board for my house. Because I moved in with my best friend, and we sort of like we each brought our own furniture from our parents' house.
Yeah,
So everything clashes now because we each have our own style.
different style.
Yeah, so we now need to find out like a middle ground to see where it all falls. But yeah,
Oh,
we will do a mood board and see what happens with that. How do you decide the vibe that fits the room?
Honestly, I feel like my whole house is very much like kind of all the same like style. It's all like I feel like I get questions all the time about what like my style is, and mine is kind of boho definitely, but I also feel like there's like a touch of maximalism, some eclectic touches here and there, and I think that's kind of what makes home decor fun for me at least, and I think a lot of other people as well, is like there really are no rules with that kind of stuff. So you can kind of mix styles and do whatever, and it's just kind of however it feels right to you. So I feel like the vibe that you're going for, you know, for me, it can be as much as like, I want this room to just feel really cozy, or like for a bedroom, I usually like a bedroom to feel like a little bit more minimal. But
Okay.
I always kind of have like one style. And for me, it's always like very chill, very cozy. And that's kind of my vibe for my whole house. So I feel like you know what your style is, and I feel like you kind of know what you want as you kind of piece it together. I feel like
Yeah.
everybody has that idea of what they want a little bit.
Yeah. And do you think a person's personality is important to creating a room, like the decor, or does it doesn't really matter?
I think so, yeah, definitely. Because I always think that you want your house to be somewhere where you feel comfortable, where you feel the most like yourself, where you it's like a safe space. I always say is like my house is my safe space. And I feel like definitely when people walk in, they're like, oh, you can tell this is your house. It feels like you. And
Okay.
that's like the best compliment. Because I like something to look unique. You know, I don't want my house to look like everyone else's out there.
Yeah.
Um, so I definitely think it's cool to let your own like individual personality shine through in that way, because that's what makes it more you and, you know, different from everyone else's. That's the quality you bring to it.
Yeah. And well, considering that, do you ever go into someone's house and can you tell like something about their personality based on the decor?
I think so, yeah, you kind of can. Um, I think a little bit like I think for us, our kind of house is set up to be like cozy and comforting for like us, but also for other people. And we're very low key, like casual, but we're like people pleasers, and we always have like friends and family over here. So I feel like we're like also catering to like our brothers that also like to come over to our house, and you know, to make sure it feels like safe for them and for our friends too. So I feel like that about us. But when I go to other people's houses, yeah, I feel like you can see like little pieces of them shine through. Like my friend, we have my best friend and I are very different aesthetics. I feel like that's a stereotypical thing, but it's very true with us. And I can instantly like tell her personality when I walk into her house. It's a lot of like greens and like neutral tones, very different from what I like. But it also is like a little bit more like minimalistic. And that's just more her. That's just more her style, and her like I feel like her wardrobe style like reflects that as well. So I definitely think you can tell. Sorry, I ramble. I'm so sorry. I
Oh,
told you.
no, it's perfect because you actually we can connect this to the next question is, do you think fashion has something to do with, like, do you involve your fashion to your home decor?
Hmm. Yes, I do kind of think that like my personal style with clothing is sort of similar to how I style what my home as well. And I wouldn't necessarily call like my clothing style like boho, I guess, but it's comfortable. It's usually like slouchy. It's always layers. And it's the same thing with my house. I kind of put that together one day and I was looking around and I was like, oh my God, that's really weird. But yeah, I totally think that's true. And same thing with my husband. Like he's very much like comfy like all the time, but like in a cute like put together way. And that's very much like our home style as well. So yeah, I definitely think I think your personal style shines through in like more ways than what people even realize. And I think it's really important to kind of like let that happen. You know, I feel like so many people want to look like everyone else, but why?
Yeah, that makes no sense. I think my style is more like, if I have to put together my fashion and my like decor style, I would say I'm just like practical. So I need things to
Yeah,
work for me.
yeah,
So I'm not into like having 30 throw pillows because I need to be able to jump into bed.
yeah.
Yeah. So, uh, okay. So next question: when would you say it's time to redecorate a room?
When I get bored with it, there's really no time frame for me. It could be like a year down the road. I could look at something and be like, oh, that's not quite right, and maybe I'll touch one or two things, or like not do like a full redecorate, but I'll call it like a refresh, where you know, I'll pull maybe one or two pieces off the wall, or like throw something different in there just to make it feel a little bit more refreshed, a little bit newer, but still you know, still basically the same guts, I guess. Um, but For me, it's just like a feeling. It's not a length of time or a period or whatever. It's just when I look at it and I just don't feel good about it anymore. And so, like I said, it can be a month, it could be 6 months, it could be a week sometimes when I'll go back to something I just did and then look at it and be like, what was I thinking that day? I hate this. Let me do
Real,
all over.
really,
So,
just to take it all out.
yes. But like I said, I do that kind of stuff for fun. Like, it's like, rearranging is like very therapeutic for me. So it's like something that I do when I need to like zone out and like not think about anything else.
Yeah, and well, speaking of therapeutic, I remember I saw a reel on your page recently where you said that someone advised you to get into plants for like calming your anxiety, and then
Yeah.
you're anxious for taking care of all of these plants. So
Yeah.
the question is, can you ever have too many plants?
I think it's personal. Yeah, depending on how much work you're willing to do and like the level of effort you really want to put into it. For me personally, yes, there was a limit. The limit does exist. And I cut back a little bit. And I like debated for a while. It's hard for me to get rid of them because I get like so attached. It's just,
Really?
it's so dumb. Like they're plants, right? You can give them to friends. It's fine. But like weirdly, I was like having trouble getting rid of some because I had had them for a while. But I found some friends to give them to. It's fine. I probably got rid of like maybe 15 or 20. It's a lot more manageable now. Feels a lot better.
Do you know how many you have?
um, it was around like 120. I
Wow.
think somewhere between like 90 to 100.
Wow.
Not counting like the stuff that I have in like propagated, like jars and stuff. That's like potted plants. Oh, I'm a psycho, Isaac. You don't even know. Talk to me. You don't even know. I'm
I love that. No, I have like 5 plants in my house, and we're like, okay, that's enough.
gonna send you a friendship plant. You'll have more.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah, I'll take care of it.
Okay, perfect.
Um, okay. The next question is, okay, you say that you like to have like a cohesive style throughout your house. Do you find that that's like a rule? Every room has to have the same style, or would you rather have like different styles of different rooms?
Oh no, definitely. There are no like I really see people try to like make it seem like there's rules. I really feel like you can do whatever you want with your home. It's your space. So I definitely you can have different styles throughout separate rooms for sure. My style is just like it just tends to flow that way, and especially with our house, it's so open, it just works. But I've done that in houses before. My mom's house is more like that. My parents' house is more like that. Especially when you have kids and you can kind of decorate them and their individual styles. And I think that's cool that way. Plus, like separate rooms sometimes serve separate purposes. You might have a home office or something like that where, like you said, you need it to be like more practical space. You need it to function and not just look nice. So yeah, there's definitely, I think, like all kinds of stuff that you need to have like a segregated space for and have it be like a separate kind of style. So
Yeah.
my husband is very much ready for like when we eventually buy a place and he's got his eye on a basement that he wants to, do his own thing with. So that will be very much off limits for me.
Does he get an input on your? Because we know you're like the pro at home decor. So does he get an input or?
He honestly is like Casey is so laid back. He just does not care. The only thing that like drives him nuts is, like I said, I'm a rearranger, and so every now and then that like means that I'll just like move like the closet around or like move where things have to go for certain reasons, and he like can't find things. Um, so that one gets on his nerves a little bit, but he's just gotten to the point where he's like, Jordan, where'd you put it? Where is it this time? And I'm like, oh, it's fine. I moved it here. As far as like the style goes, he really doesn't care. He's so like go with the flow, and he's like one of those people that if he's like comfortable and he has a place to sit and play his video games, he does not care.
Perfect. Yeah. He sounds like me, like just practical, just yeah. I think that's more my style, but I don't know if I could handle all the moving around because I lived in the same house with my parents for 25 years.
Oh my
And
gosh, really?
yeah, and I didn't know where this the knives were. I could never get the drawer right, and they never moved them. I just can't remember. I don't
You
know.
that sounds like one of my brothers.
Yeah, like I always open like I have to open like 3 or 4 drawers before I get to the one I need to be.
That's hilarious. After 25 years, you
Yeah,
find it eventually though. It's fine.
yeah. So yeah, but when my friends were helping me move in, they were like, "Oh, where do you want this?" I was like, "I don't care because I'm never gonna find it anyway. So just put it wherever."
You have to like see it. It has to like be there for you to like know where it is.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, I don't know if I. Well, yeah, then I wouldn't care if you moved things around because,
I
like,
could just find it for you.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that makes much more sense. Okay, what's a good tip if you don't have a big budget?
Oh, thrift stores for sure. I thrift so much furniture, and that's one of the things that like I think you prioritize like what you want to pick and choose what you spend money on when you're looking at a budget like that. And for sure, furniture is where I will cut the majority of my budget because I think it's so easy to get really nice secondhand furniture at thrift stores. Facebook Marketplace is huge anymore. There's all kinds of good deals on there. And honestly, I try to look there first before I buy new furniture, just because you can get stuff at such a good deal. And I feel like you find stuff that's more unique on Facebook Marketplace as well, just because it's more antiques, it's vintage. And I like that kind of stuff. I'd rather have something that, is more unique. And then when I can't find what I want at a thrift store, if I'm looking for something that's super specific, that's when I'll go to the next step and say, okay, how much money do I want to spend on a couch or a chair or something that I want for this space? And then where can I look and what's in my budget after that? But for sure, thrifting. Even like small decor pieces for bookshelves, like vases, candle holders, things like that. Another really good tip for people is if you find something at a thrift store that you like, that's like a good shape or you think it's cute, but it's just not the right color, spray paint goes a long way. I have bought like a couple cans of spray paint, like in just like my color scheme. So it's like terracotta, like a lighter, like blush pink shade. And I've spray painted vases, candle holders to match my decor, like my color scheme, and I still have them on my shelf in my house. And I get questions about them all the time. They're like, "Where'd you find that?" And I'm like, "I literally got that at Goodwill. It's just a vase that I painted pink and like stuffed some dried branches in." And so anything you can kind of make work. It's just, finding little ways to make it what you want it to be is just being creative.
That's a really good tip. What's the like your proudest find in like a thrift shop or Goodwill or whatever?
I've had some good ones, honestly. I feel like I like this little spot where I live in West Michigan is honestly like a hidden gem, I think, for thrift stores. A couple years ago, and it was before I started my Instagram, like years before boho was even like more trendy as it is kind of now. I found a rattan furniture set. It's my sofa that I have out in my sunroom, and it came with an end table, a chair, and an ottoman. They're all rattan, all vintage, and the whole
Oh,
set $100 at the thrift store. And I think I was there with my best friend, and the whole thing was like, had this tag on it and this booth for $100. And I was like, is this right? And she's like, yeah, no, that's right. And she's like, call Casey and have him bring the car right now before somebody calls and like tells them that they marked that wrong because that's ridiculous. And to this day, I get questions on all of that stuff. Like, where'd you get that? And I'm like, it's like my biggest like deal. Like, because now you look for something like that sofa is easily a $500 like piece by itself. So that was a really proud moment. Another one for sure that I get tons of questions on all the time is my dining set, and that's a Facebook Marketplace find that I will probably never get rid of because it's like a vintage from the 1970s, like very retro style table that I absolutely
wow.
love. It's like I've never seen. I think the chairs were originally gold, and then the lady that owned it reupholstered them at one point, and now they're pink. And I will probably never get rid of it because I've never seen another one.
That's so
So
cool.
yeah, you find some cool stuff. And it honestly, like that table that I got was right down the road from me. Like the lady I bought it from had it in her garage for 10 years. So you just never know what's out there.
How do you make a room look bigger?
Ooh, open furniture. So I actually just had to do this in my sunroom. So I just replaced a coffee table in my sunroom. I had one that was a wicker top. And I just replaced it for one. It's still a rattan like base, but the top is glass. And it instantly opens up the space. It makes it feel so much bigger in there because it's obviously you can just see right through it. And I don't know what it is. It's like open feeling. And I think the same can be said for all types of like glass furniture like that. So any table with a glass top is definitely a good way to make it feel more open. There's also like hairpin table legs for like chairs and like dining tables. Those are a really great way to like create space in small dining areas. I know a lot of people, my friend actually just had to do this with her space as well, where she has basically a kitchen and dining room combo in one where you don't have like a separate room. And she, I think, turned her kitchen table, took the same base or same top, took the base off of it because it was too bulky, and then replaced them with like a thinner hairpin leg, and it like totally made the kitchen look double the size. So open furniture, open shelving is another really good one. If you still need storage space, get a bookshelf, instead of something like mine that has like sides on it, do something that's either glass shelving or open on the ends. It's just a good way to like create that extra space. And then also I think just like making sure that you have good lighting, and then brighter colors, like lighter, brighter colors definitely make your room feel bigger. I think darker colors can kind of make it feel a little more closed in, a little boxed off sometimes. So I would stick to like lighter tones, whites, beiges, light green, stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah.
That's funny because my whole room is like in blue, gray, and black. Like everything's like really dark. So that's probably I should go the other way around.
Yeah, some lighter paint would probably make it feel a little brighter in there.
Perfect. Yeah, I actually have like a gray wall in my room. So I don't know why. I like darker colors, but okay.
Okay, though, I mean, cool tone colors, that's a thing for some people. That's just not my thing. But it can be your thing.
Exactly. What's the biggest do and the biggest don't when it comes to home decor?
I think the biggest do for me, and I just go back to the thing that it's like so many people stress about like what's right and what's wrong. Just have fun with it. It doesn't need to be like so serious. And I actually got a comment on one of my TikTok videos a couple of weeks ago that somebody said, sometimes I forget that I'm an adult and my home can look however I want it to. And I'm like, yes, like you don't have to have your home look like, Susan's house that lives 5 houses down the street from like it can be your house. It doesn't have to be reflective of somebody else's personality just because that's what you see on Pinterest or on HGTV or whatever, have fun with it, make it yours.
Exactly.
I really don't think that there are like don'ts, like you can literally do what you want. I guess the don't for me is just like, don't box yourself in. Don't get stuck like thinking that you only want one style and like you have to stick to that. I feel people like, oh, well, I have all of this like natural wood, so I can't like bring in this other table that I really like because it doesn't match. Who cares? Like,
yeah.
Make it work. I think there's all kinds of different stuff thrown together in my house, but like, it's the big picture. You don't have to like make it so serious. So I feel like that's my biggest piece of advice is just to have fun with it.
But okay, how do you feel about like those inspirational posters like the live, laugh, love? I think that's a don't.
No, burn them.
That's a don't.
For me, that's a don't, yes. There are definitely styles that I don't like, but everyone has their own thing, and I'm not here to like bash them. But yes, those are no live, laugh, love.
Yeah, if I ever go into someone's room and they have that live, laugh, love, like I already dislike you. Yeah, yeah, totally. I'm leaving. Okay. If 2 people want to decorate a room, how would you recommend that they mix their styles?
I think like we talked about earlier, mood boards for sure. I think visual is like the best way to kind of map everything out. And especially like when you're trying to explain it to somebody else, I think visually laying it all out is definitely the easiest way to do it. So I would say like, if you have 2 different styles you're trying to create, each person maybe make a mood board and have like their idea of like what they think would work. And then kind of like bring those 2 together and take pieces from each and then maybe try to make those work and then fill in the details from there. Because you don't want to just like have it be one person's space. It should be make both of you feel like you're in a safe space at home.
What details do you look for when you go into someone's house? Like what's something that you like to see?
What details? Plants. I always look for plants. I bring plants to my friends' houses when they don't have them. I'm that person. But I'm trying to think. I like little, like just like little details that I think like make things like feel homey. Still like little picture frames I think are always cute. Like I like little homey touches like that. Candles, like cute things that just make it feel more like personal, I guess. Like layers, like throw blankets that kind of make it feel like it's yours. I don't know, like somebody lives there. I don't want to walk into somebody's house and have it feel like it's a hotel. That's
Yeah.
like off me.
Yeah, sometimes like it feels like a museum, like you can touch anything.
Yes, yes.
That's
I don't
so weird. Okay, what's one thing you wish would make a comeback and one thing you wish would go away?
Oh, one thing I wish would make a comeback. Oh, conversation pits from the 70s. Oh, I would love, love, love to have a conversation pit and like a really cool, like big living room setup. I would love that. I wish those never went out of style. And then something that I think needs to go. Is that the other one? I'm gonna make some people mad. I feel like I hate farmhouse style. I hate it. It's like my least favorite form of decor.
Really?
Um, so when I think of like cringy like home decor, it's anything farmhouse for me. But that's honestly like it's the cheesy farmhouse because there's like a good way to do it and a bad way to do it. And when I
Okay.
think cheesy farmhouse, I think of like the live, laugh, love posters and stuff
Yeah.
like so. So yeah, that's it for me. But yeah,
Okay.
if we bring conversation pits back, that'd be great.
Okay, what's one item we should never go for the cheap option on? Like it's worth the money.
Um, Honestly, nice pillows. I hate every time I've cheaped out on throw pillows, I throw them away. I like down the road, I get so annoyed and they end up going to Goodwill or like I give them to somebody else and then I end up just replacing them with the ones that I wanted to get in the first place. So I don't cheap out on throw pillows anymore or really like throw blankets. I'll spend a little bit more on too, just because I would rather have like nicer quality and have like better material than have it look cheap. That's just
Yeah.
me. Like I'll cheap out on furniture all day before I cheap out on a throw pillow.
Okay. Yeah. The throw blankets actually make a lot of sense to me because if you're going to be like covering yourself with that, and it also looks cheap when it's
Yeah.
not.
And I
Yeah.
don't want to like cover myself up with like a cheap feeling blanket, you
Yeah.
know?
Like scratchy. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Good. That's a good one. How do you know if someone has good taste?
Oh, that's hard. I feel like you just can like tell by the way that their house is like put together. It's styling for me.
Okay.
Um, like I feel like styling, you can usually like you can kind of tell that like somebody knows like how to make things look cohesive. Um, like the room has to have like a good layout for me. Like it has to be like I don't know, like set up appropriately. Like if it looks like cluttered, I can't stand clutter. That's one thing that drives me nuts. And if it just looks like something's missing, like you don't have a rug or something like that, like it just looks like a piece is missing, then I will secretly judge you. You know, I
Yeah.
don't mean to, but I do. Oh no, there's a rug needs to go right there. Like I got it here. Let me help you.
I had that thing with my TV room. I really want to put a rug in here, but my roommate's like, no, we don't need it. We don't need it. And every time I walk by and I see the table just alone, I'm like, but we need a rug.
It would be so cozy though.
Yeah, like I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna get a rug. Like it just makes my brain hurt when I walk by and I see that it's not there.
Just sneak it in there and see if he even notices.
Yeah, let's see if that happens. It's perfect. Okay, I know you already described your style as like boho and like really earthy, but why do you think people gravitate towards that style?
Towards like boho style or like my style and
Your style in particular, like why do you think? Because I'm gonna give you your flowers right now. Your Instagram and your TikTok have been blowing up lately. Like you have been growing a lot, and I'm like, it's really cool to see that. But people really respond to your style, and like, why do you think that is?
honestly, I think from the very beginning, I think why I kind of got the response that I did is because it's different. I think in comparison to a lot of the stuff that you see out there, I think that it's just more, I guess I think I have my own kind of like niche where like everyone else, I'm not saying that like everyone else's stuff looks the same, but I think when you look at mine and you look at my feed, especially like on my Instagram, I think there's definitely something that stands out a little bit more than what you might see like from other like boho style or other people that have the same kind of like aesthetic, I guess. And I honestly, from the beginning, I've kind of just had this idea that I wanted to make sure that like what I was putting out there felt like me and like was true to my style. And I just think that's the biggest thing and the best thing that you can do, especially like if you're trying to, you know, put yourself out there as like a content creator, is just to be yourself. So many people I feel like try to, you know, have their house look like everyone else's, or, you know, they want it to look like what Joanna Gaines is doing on HGTV and stuff. But like that's how you just get like everyone else's house, you know, having like a white shiplapped wall and the same dining table, you know, like I think that's what it is. And I think it's just because it's a little quirky and different. And there's something about it that I guess people just kind of come back to. And I think that there's also something there that feels like I get the comment a lot that it feels homey. And I think that's what it is for people.
It really does. Um, and who influenced that style? Like, where do you get your inspiration?
For me,
Yeah.
honestly, I have a ton of stuff in my house that was like my grandma's. And we don't have like the same style really, like by any means. Like when I was growing up, her style was definitely more, you know, it still felt like grandma's house, but it was always very cozy and like you just felt like at home, like safe, warm. And I think she definitely had that like maximalist tendency where she just liked stuff. And I think that's what kind of made me feel like more comfortable there. And I grew up at her house, like she watched me every day. And so like I just grew up, you know, in this like very eclectic, like maximalist house,
Yeah.
but just in a different kind of like grandma feeling. So I think I've kind of just like adapted part of that and then kind of pieced in, you know, pieces of my own style. And then I take inspiration from, I love Justina Blakely that does the Jungalow line, all kinds of different inspo, honestly. And I still like, I know I said something about Joanna Gaines. I still love Joanna Gaines. I have respect for her. It's just not my style.
Yeah.
But yeah, my grandma definitely was my number one inspo. And I try to like the pieces that I do have of hers, I try to like make sure that I like do something cool with and like do justice to them. So yeah, and then the rest of it, I don't know, honestly. I've always just been like, I'm like I feel like I'm the black sheep of my family a little bit, where I've
Okay.
always just like my brother always called me a hippie growing up, but I'm like the one in my family that sticks out like a sore thumb. So none of the rest of them are like have anything to do with my style. My mom's house is very like traditional, more cool tones and like a little bit more farmhouse leaning, and that's just like not me. So I don't
Yeah.
really know. Aside from that, I'm gonna give the credit to Granny because I think that's where it's due.
That's amazing. I love that. Okay, if you could style any celebrity's home, who would it be?
Oh, any celebrity's home. Zoe Kravitz. Um,
Yes.
I love her. Oh, I love her. She's so cool, and I just love like everything about her style is just like I can picture her like her personal style is just like so dope that I feel like she would just have like the coolest house, and I
Yeah.
feel like we would have the most fun like working on a project together. She'd just be like a cool celebrity I'd like to get to chat with, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah, Zoe Kravitz.
Okay, let's put that into the universe. Maybe it will happen. It will happen.
One day.
Yeah, yeah, totally. It will happen. What's the biggest lesson you've learned, like being a home decor influencer?
Oh man, that I don't ever want to have a corporate job again. Can I say that?
Yeah, totally.
um, for me, honestly, is that like I wish I would have done something more creative with like a career field a long time ago. And I think this has kind of taught me like when I was, you know, going to college like years ago, it was so like taboo to like go into anything like creative or artsy or like design oriented, which is always the kind of kid that I was growing up. I was an art kid, I was always in art classes and stuff like that. And then I ended up getting an accounting degree, and I just look back and I'm like, what were you doing, Jordan? Like, who
I
told you to do that?
I never would have guessed accounting. Like
Yeah, I
never.
worked as a financial analyst for almost 6 years before I finally, during COVID, like could not take it anymore. And I woke up one day, it was just like, this is not the life that I want. I I don't want to work this kind of a job. I don't want to be stressed out.
Yeah,
So I honestly, that's the biggest like piece of advice that I could look back on and give anybody is if like you're questioning it, if you want to take that leap of faith and like start over and like have that career that you thought that you couldn't have years ago when you were too scared to do it. Because like I feel like I'm living proof that you can literally start over and like still make something happen. Like, and not to like put this out into the universe, but I'm 31. So for everyone that's just like, you can only do this in your 20s and like you only have a limited amount of time. Cause I feel like that's a thing with like content creators too, is like,
yeah,
like teenagers, like that's not true. Like there is so much space out there for like everyone on the internet. And like, I just think don't be afraid. Like if that's what you really want to do, take the leap of faith and make it happen.
totally. Yeah, that's really good advice in like any kind of field that you feel like you're not being fulfilled.
Yes.
Yeah, just do it.
Life is
Uh,
too short to be unhappy.
yeah, that's kind of why I started this show too. Like I've always said, I want to have my own podcast. I want to have my own podcast because everyone in school would say like, "Oh, you would be a great interviewer." I don't know why they said that, and like that was always in the back of my mind. And like when I came here to station, they were like, "Oh, would you like your podcast?" Like it was so out of the blue. I was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Why not?"
I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah. So like I don't know it and obviously not at the same numbers as you are, but like I see like a few.
Start.
Yeah, and I see a few hundred people watching this, and I'm like so happy to be reaching them. And I don't know, even if like half of them are like my mom's friends, I don't care.
It
But
doesn't matter though. That's how everybody starts. That's
yeah,
that's all it is. I think
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah, it is really cool. So yeah, just take a leap. Like the worst thing that could happen is it doesn't work out and you go back.
Right. Like it's worth it. Like I feel like you always like you don't want to grow up with that like what if always just
Yeah,
stuck in your head. It's not worth it.
exactly. Okay, next question. What is a good tip to make a house feel like a home when you're renting?
Ooh, when you're renting, okay, well we're renters. So for me it's just that like don't I feel like so many people, because they're renting, are just like, oh, I don't want to really take the time to like make it, feel homey. But it's like you live there now. Don't wait till you have your like forever home or whatever, because in this market, you don't even know when that's going to be. So I feel like renting is like, there are tons of ways to make your house feel homey without painting. Definitely wall decor, I think, is one way to like make your house feel cozier. Definitely having stuff on your walls. Rugs for us is a big one. I hate carpet. If I could, I would rip up every inch of carpet in our house and put hardwood floor down, but obviously this isn't my house, so I can't do that. So I use rugs to cover up carpet where I can, and that's also a big way that I add color to my like spaces as well. And that for me is another way that I make it feel a little cozier and warmer in my house, is usually with pops of color. Um, Depending on where you rent, sometimes you can't paint. We're not really supposed to paint a ton, stuff like that. So um, rugs, wall decor, plants are a good way to make your house feel a little bit more homey, especially in the winter when it's just like bleak and dreary outside. I feel like bringing the outside in a little bit kind of lifts your spirits a little bit, especially for us in Michigan where it's gloomy for like 6 months of the year. So the plants help us a little bit inside. And then I just think like little details are definitely little ways to make your space feel homey.
Picture frames.
Yes, I like pictures. I'm like that person where our like refrigerator is still covered in like pictures and cheesy magnets and stuff. I like that kind of stuff. We're those people.
Yeah, because people said that, like, I don't know, I've seen that picture frames went out of style because I remember back at my parents'
Yeah.
house and my grandma's, they have like full walls, like with big picture frames, and now I don't see those anymore.
No, so many people like don't have like family pictures or anything like up in their homes, and I always wonder that when I'm like scrolling through people's feeds. I'm like, Like, what do you do with like your wedding photos? Like,
Yeah.
I paid money for those. I still want to see our wedding photos. You know? So I like putting frames and things like that on like bookshelves. I think that's a really good way. And you can even like, I like to layer frames so you can kind of make more room out of them. I don't typically hang a ton of like pictures and stuff on the wall. But yeah, usually bookshelves, like I'll put them in a corner on like a nightstand or something like that. But yeah, it should feel like your space.
Yeah, I have my I only have my dogs on picture frames, so like I have pictures of my dogs all over the wall.
I love that. That's so cute.
Yeah, that's my version of home decor. How did you get started in the world of home decor? Like when you decided to quit your job and do like influencer lifestyle, why did you go for home decor?
Um, Actually, so I think I got started with home decor. It kind of became like a hobby for me like a few years ago. Um, I actually, so my, I don't talk about this a lot. It's kind of, I feel like my story, like behind my whole Instagram feed is like kind of a downer, but honestly, like if I'm going to be honest, this is what started my page. So I'm just going to talk about it.
Yes.
So I think like 2018, when I was like still working in accounting, like before my Insta and everything like that, we had like a family like emergency situation happen where I lost my brother and my grandparents. One of my brothers, I have two brothers, but I lost one of my brothers and my grandparents to a drunk driver while we were all out like in California for our wedding. So,
Mm.
so obviously it was like something that you don't ever expect to see coming. And it's one of those things that like kind of turns your life upside down in a lot of ways. And for me, it was honestly like, and I hate looking at it this way as like, oh, this is like a learning experience for you, because obviously if I could go back and undo all of it, I would. But it kind of changed my life in a lot of ways because it changed my perspective on a lot of things. And I went back to my normal job after that and like didn't, that's what kind of like made me realize that life is very short and like I don't want to be stuck at this desk forever because I don't enjoy my job. And I actually inherited like a ton of my grandma's stuff after she passed, and that's when I got like a bunch of her furniture. And so for a long time, I was struggling like really bad with grief and just like with depression and stuff. And I used to stay up all night because I couldn't sleep at the time. And I would stay up all night like rearranging stuff and like furniture and things to kind of like keep my head on straight.
Yeah.
And I guess from there, it kind of like turned into something that was like a hobby. Like I did it for like months, like, and that's kind of when I started bringing like plants and stuff into my house too. But over the course of like the next like few months and years, I basically started redecorating and redesigning my entire house because it helped me. Like, and that's, it was like very therapeutic and like kind of like healing for me because it allowed me to have that time to like clear my head and like focus on something else. So that was for me like kind of when interior design became like a passion of mine, I guess. And it was something that just kind of stuck. And I think it just kind of like helped me think, and it also just like brought me joy when I was in this place where like not really much did. And then fast forward a couple years later and I was still at my job and just like miserable and stuck there. And I, had talked to my husband a little bit about it because I think I'd started my Insta maybe like a month before that, and it kind of took off more than I expected it to. But I really just got to the point where I was like, I can't do my job anymore. Like I was at a breaking point. I was very burnt out. And I don't know, I kind of just decided to take a leap of faith, which is very unlike me. And not something I would typically do, but I just kind of had to rip the Band-Aid off and go for it. And I remember going into work one day and I just put my 2 weeks in, and that was the end of it. And then from there, I think I just kind of told myself that like, this is, what makes the most sense to me. This is what makes me happy. And I wanted to try to find some way to, make it into a career because I knew I was passionate about it. But I didn't know at first that I wanted to be a content creator, I guess. That's where it started. But like in the beginning, I was like, do I want to have an interior design business? Do I want to start my own company? And then the more I got into Instagram, I was like, but I like doing this, like it's a way that I can talk to people. And I felt like what I was doing was also like helping other people. And that's really what I wanted to do, I think, because it ultimately was something that like helped me so much. So yeah, I think that's kind of where I decided to just like see where it would go. And I don't know, I feel like I'm still like seeing where it will go. I feel like I'm still in that stage. Is that dumb to say? It's been like a year and a half now, I guess, of me like taking it seriously. And I feel like every day I'm just like now I get to the point where I'm like, oh, this is like a real job. Like,
Yeah.
Jordan, like you know, like I feel like I can like pat myself on the back a little bit now and be like, you finally got to the point where it's like you can breathe a little bit. But it is a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie.
It is.
That was a lot. I'm sorry, but
No, no, no. Like, I didn't want to interrupt you, but like, first of all, I'm so sorry for your loss, and like,
oh,
thank you so much for sharing that. It was like beautiful and it
it's
sad
a
at
lot.
this. Yeah, it's a
It,
lot, but really beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing that. And you are doing something right, obviously. Like I said, you're like, I've known you for a few months now, and like I've seen your page grow so much in the past few months, and it's really cool to see you doing what you love and just people appreciating that. And I think that's one of the greatest feelings you can get, is just doing you and being appreciated for that.
that's so true, and I think that's very like validating. Because you know, for a long time, I think at a different job, you feel like you have to be like this very like corporate version of yourself, and it took me a long time to realize that that's not even like who I am or who I
Yeah.
want to be. And yeah, this job really like allows me to like be myself now, and I feel like this is the most I've ever been able to like be myself, and I love that. um and it's actually like I feel like it's helped me become like a more confident person, and you know, like a more outspoken person. And I don't know, it's weird. I like being able to like be this version. So I'm really glad that I told him, actually, it was actually, I think I emailed you the other day and I don't remember what we were talking about, but I remember I just shut my computer and I just looked at Casey and I was like, thank you for letting me quit my job. It's like
Oh,
I never expected it to really like work out the way that it has. And I feel like I'm still kind of like, you know, seeing where everything will go. But I'm just like really appreciative of, for one, like having a teammate that like allows me to take that leap of faith and is
yeah.
like really supportive, and you know, sees that there's like potential there. And also just like for having the support that I have in the world of like Instagram and TikTok. Like the people that like message me in my DMs and stuff every day are just like so sweet, so kind. And it like continually blows me away every single day that I have people that are just like, I'm so inspired by you. And I'm like, I'm just a person, you know, like I'm just me. And like that's still crazy to me. So I don't even know, like it, I'm just very appreciative of all of this, I guess.
No, it's amazing what you're doing, and like it's like I'm, besides like knowing you and all this, I'm an actual fan. Like, I look at your pictures, I'm like, oh, I show them to my room, and I'm like, oh, we should do this here, and we should like, it's really fun.
You're so sweet. I'm
No,
glad I can email with you. You're
thank you. What would you say is your signature when it comes to your style?
ooh, texture for sure.
Texture.
Um, Definitely. I mean, plants. Yeah, obviously, I feel like people see me, they see plants. But like when it comes to actual like home decor pieces, definitely texture. I love layers, and I love like natural textures, incorporating them together along with like things that feel cozy, soft, like blankets, throw pillows, anything that's fuzzy. I love like faux fur elements, stuff like that. So I feel like for me, that's definitely the thing that I look for. And then yes, next to texture, I feel like is anything green, definitely plants.
It's amazing. Have you heard I don't know if it was like a meme or just like a tweet or something like that, that said, "Pets are the new kids.
Yeah.
Plants are the new pets, and candles are the new plants."
Yes. That's, I feel like that's very us. Like
Yeah,
we don't want kids and we don't want kids, but I have 100 house plants, so it's fine.
yeah, those are like your pets. You're taking care of those.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
And yeah, do you have pets?
no, since we rent, we like aren't technically supposed to have any animals or anything here. And we don't. If my landlord is watching, we're good, Gary. We would eventually, like we're both like animal people. Like my husband grew up with dogs and I grew up with dogs and cats. So eventually we want like a yard, and I've turned my husband into like a cat person, so he really wants a cat. So one day we're gonna get there.
That's so cool. I've had dogs my whole life, but like right now I can't bring them to the apartment because I have four big dogs, like a husky, bl- yeah, a blue heeler, and then two rescues, but they're like really big,
Yeah.
so I can't bring them into the apartment. But like I would like to ask for later on in life when I can live with them. What would you say is a good pet friendly tip for like furniture?
Ooh, pet friendly tips for furniture. Definitely, I think like look into what you're getting. Like if you're gonna spend a lot of money on a piece of furniture, like a couch or something like that, do some research and for sure like look into it before you impulse buy something. Make sure what you're getting is easy to be cleaned. I also like rugs. This is a huge thing. My mom and I talk about this all the time because they have two Bernese Mountain Dogs and then two like big fluffy cats as well.
Yeah.
And she's always dealing with like animal hair and stuff like that. Make your life as easy as you can. I feel like with pets, like get one of those little DJ Roomba vacuums, make your life easy. And I wouldn't do like carpet. I would try to stick to like hardwood floors if you can with pets. That makes your life easier. And then I always love like a washable rug, I feel like is clutch if you can. So there are a lot of brands out there that make them now. They're worth the money because I feel like pets, for whatever reason, always seem to throw up on your rugs. That's something my mom and I talk about a lot. She's like, if I could, I'm going to get one of those ruggable rugs that you have. I'm going to get one next. So,
Yeah, that's true. They do find the rug for example,
yeah,
like they have the whole room. The whole room is like hardwood. You can throw up there. We could just like clean it. No, you go for the rug.
little patch of carpet and they will find it.
Yeah.
Don't
That's so true. Okay. Is there any way to make a neon sign look good indoors?
Oh yeah, I love a neon sign, honestly, if it's done right. I think they can look tacky. Like there are definitely some neon beer signs out there that are not it for me. But there are definitely like cute ones. I've honestly seen as like an accent wall before where people have done like neon and then surrounded the entire thing around it with like a wall of plants or like a really cool like collage wall or something behind it so that the neon really pops, but that there's this other like element that kind of like helps it stand out. I think that's cool. But yeah, it has to be done the right way.
Tastefully.
Yes.
Okay. We kind of talked about this, but do you feel like it's hard to be original with everyone being on social media and they're able to see what everyone does and get influenced by it? Like, is it hard to stay true to yourself?
I think there is a little bit, yeah, just because there's so much out there anymore. Like it's content is just like in your face everywhere. Everyone's like trying to be a content creator, I feel like, on TikTok nowadays. And why the hell not? It's a fun job. But I definitely think you have to like separate yourself sometimes from like, is this trendy or is this something I like?
Yeah.
And I've definitely fallen victim to that before where I've like bought something because it was trendy and I brought it home and it works nowhere in my house. And I'm like, why'd you buy this? So I also think that like if it's a big purchase, like wait, like don't impulse buy those things. And if you're thinking about something that you're like on the fence about, I always like tell myself like wait a day or two and see if you still like it and then come back to it and like revisit it and be like, do I really like this because it's me and I like it, or is it just because so and so has it up in their house and her house is cute,
Yeah.
I feel like that's a big thing because trends come and go, but you don't want to get stuck with like a bunch of stuff you're going to get sick of in 6 months,
Well, yeah, like especially like we're talking about home decor, but I've seen that too with people's faces. Everyone's starting to look the same.
Yes. There's
Like,
a lot of that out there. Everyone gets their hair cut the same way. It's kind of creepy.
yeah, so like you can take a lamp back, but like don't mess with your face.
Yeah. I think there's too much like filler and stuff out there nowadays too.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know, like that came to my mind. Exactly. Okay, so your Instagram handle is Golden Hour Abode.
Yes.
And I would say that you're famous for your golden hour pictures. So, like, what's a tip you would give to get the perfect golden hour pic?
Ooh, I love shooting. Like sunlight is like my biggest inspiration when it comes for like photos. I love shooting different like lighting shots. Um, I think for sure knowing your camera settings, what you're shooting with,
Okay.
is huge. And then lighting in your house is always just like tricky to work with depending on, if I get golden hour from like where I'm sitting right now in my house. Actually, it comes through this window. But if turn your camera directly at the window, you're going to get this big blown out window because it's too much light. So you have to work with angles and kind of like find ways to like soften that light sometimes too, so that it isn't super harsh in your photos. Filtering light through like curtains, like semi-sheer curtains, things like that can kind of help it look not so intense in photos, especially when you're doing like shots inside your home. And then for sure, yeah, just like knowing your camera settings, your ISO, that kind of thing
Yeah.
is I'm really lucky to have a best friend that's also a photographer, and she's helped me tremendously in the past like couple years. She actually helped me pick out my camera, which is my baby. So yeah, if you have a nice camera, if you spend money on it, learn your settings. It's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to spend money on a camera, the least you could do is learn how to use it, right?
Yeah, like, don't shoot on auto. It's not good.
Okay. Never. Okay. What's one life hack that you've learned that changed your life?
Life hack. Oh man, I don't know if I have like a life hack. I just feel like my life hack that is like the realization that like you don't have to do what everyone else is doing, or that there are really just like I feel like there's so many like societal like cues that you're supposed to have to follow, and I feel like I fell so victim to those when I was younger. Like you have to go to college, you have to go get a job, you have to do this. Do what you want,
Yeah.
you know? Like do what you want on your own timeline. And I think
That.
there is no like right and wrong. I have a younger brother that's 19 and just started college, and he's like kind of going through that like, what do I want to do with my life phase? I'm like, take your time, dude. Like, take a gap year, travel. I
Yeah.
wish I would have done that instead of like rushing to like do all these things that I thought that I had to accomplish. When looking back on it, like, who cares? Like, you
Yeah.
accomplish it for yourself, like not for other people. So I just, don't do what everyone else is doing. I feel
Yeah.
like
I
I
completely agree with that.
just be yourself.
Yeah, because in my case, I think the 2 years ago, that's when I finally decided to stop trying to please everyone, and everything changed. Like I started to get like a lot better offer, like job offers, and like my friendships changed for the better, and like everything changed.
Boundaries are huge too, I feel like. It's just like knowing when you have like sometimes you have to say no. And like that's not a bad thing. That's like knowing like when you're maxed out, like sometimes you have to. I feel like that's a self-care thing that everyone like needs to learn is like being able to say no.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, and okay, we have one last question, and it's what's one decor red flag for you? Like if you walk into someone's house, besides the live, laugh, love,
A decor red flag.
like maybe in the kitchen or something like that.
I'm trying to think.
For me, it's, and I know I said that I like framed pictures, but if it's like a professional like portrait of just one person, I'm like, okay, you clearly love yourself.
I'm picturing like an old like professional like senior photograph on the wall, like very like JC Penney photo
Yeah,
catalog.
yeah,
Yeah.
so something like that, like it's huge and like just one person like posing there. Like I don't know, that's I think
Yeah,
that would be weird.
that's bad. The other one, I know we talked about the live, laugh, love, but I just thought of this really. I don't know if you've ever seen it. There's a TikTok where this guy goes around and like makes fun of like all of the tacky like inspirational quote things that are inside of his like sister's house, and there's like 85 of them in her house, and you like walk around and it's just like all of these different things about like be encouraging, like all these different like just so dorky like everywhere. That's a red flag for me.
Yeah, like
No, you
even
got all of them at like Hobby Lobby or something. Just no, don't do
yeah,
it.
yeah, because even just like, you can have it as a screensaver, like one quote.
Yes, one. Yeah, or put it on like your phone background or something, so you can mix it up every now and then. But like you don't need to have like the big sign that says like gather over your dining room table. We get it. People eat there.
Yeah, yeah, we know what to do.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Well, that was the last question, actually. So thank you so much for doing this, Jordan. I really enjoyed it.
This was fun. I'm glad that you asked me. I'm glad we got to like actually chat, versus like the 12 emails that I usually send you a day.
So, everyone, I'm going to put Jordan's links in the description, and they're going to pop up here too. So you can go and follow her for home decor inspiration and just tips. And just there's a lot of fashion there too now. And I love that too.
Trying to work some of that in a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you soon, Jordan.
Thank you so much.